Do you struggle with prediabetes, diabetes, metabolic disorder, wild mood swings, or maybe you just get tired after having a little bit more of sweets than you should have? Well, I have a solution for you that's going to knock your socks off, because most doctors don't seem to know about it, and it's so easy and has been around for such a long time. It's amazing that this is not something that's common knowledge for every single diabetic on the planet. And here it is. Fiber. Yeah, that's the secret. Now you're saying, what are you talking about? Well, here's the thing. You know how when the pandemic happened, the politicians were all saying, we've got to flatten the curve. Well, when you consume simple sugars like syrup, honey, agave, molasses, crystallized sugar, or coconut sugar, or anything like, inverted sugar, turbinado, any of those sugars, anything that's been simplified, has been extracted from its source and turned into a pure or mostly pure sugar source, that goes into your bloodstream very, very rapidly. It causes a big spike, and then when your body starts to produce the insulin, the body produces more and more and more to catch up to the spike, and then you get to the point where there's more insulin than sugar, and suddenly you crash, and then suddenly you're like, you could be in the car driving, you could be doing pretty much anything, and you just kind of crash. All you have to do is this. Take a spoon, get yourself some fiber, like psyllium fiber. Take a spoonful of that. Now it can be at least a teaspoon. And then you mix it with water or whatever your favorite beverage is. And you have two choices at that point. You can either let it sit, in which case it's going to thicken and become kind of like a gel that's been, like a gelatin that's been stirred up. Because, it's not going to be a solid gelatin. It's going to be still the individual pieces of the psyllium fiber, but it'll thicken up. So if that appeals to you, you can do that. It could even be with sweet beverages that you can put it in. It can be, if you have a bowl of cereal, you just take this and you sprinkle it in your cereal, and you add water. Now make sure when you're adding water that if you do a teaspoon of the fiber, you're going to need to put in at least 8 fluid ounces of whatever the liquid is. If you are going to put in a sweet beverage or something, or you're using a lot of sugar, you're probably going to have to add extra fiber. You may need to experiment a little bit, but you can either have it at the very start, right before you start eating the sugary foods, or whatever food has got whatever kinds of fast sugar sources, so before or with. Either way, it's going to work. Now, if you put it in a little bit beforehand, it set up your body a little bit faster, but I found that it works either way. I've done this with cereal. I've done this with sweet beverages. I've done this with candy. Because I'm not diabetic. They say my A1C is fine, but I find that if I have, for example, 3 long sticks of licorice, I will crash because of the spike in my blood sugar. It doesn't take a lot for me. So, that tells me I'm probably pre-diabetic, and they're just not catching it because they're looking at the wrong markers, and they don't do a postprandial test, which is a test. You have your blood sugar checked or beforehand, and then you eat, and then you have it checked again to see if it goes above what's considered the norm. That hasn't been done for me. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take some chocolate powder, chocolate mix, and I'm going to put that in here as well. And, you know, this is good because unlike chocolate bars, chocolate powder has no saturated fat, so it's not bad for my heart. And I'm just going to put a really healthy dose of that in there. And I've got blueberries in there as well, and I'm going to add oatmeal. Now, oatmeal has its own fiber, so I'm actually giving myself an extra amount of fiber. So I've got about this is a soup spoon, so I've got about 2 teaspoons of fiber in there. I've got, well, let me show you. Lots and lots of that chocolate powder. Hold on. Okay. I had to pour the water in here. I'm stirring up both the chocolate powder and the psyllium fiber. And it doesn't, you know, which brand of psyllium fiber is not important as long as they're just giving you psyllium fiber and they're not adding fillers to save money. I don't know what psyllium fiber comes from. I've never looked at that. If you have, if you happen to know what the source of psyllium fiber is, just put it down in the comments. If you've ever done this sort of thing with psyllium fiber or other fibers, and I find that that this is extremely effective. So now I'm going to pour in my cup of oatmeal. Already this is thickening up. I'm hoping the oatmeal is going to be able to absorb enough liquid. That is one of the risks you take if you put your fiber into what you're making and it has to have liquid, is the fiber can make it difficult for the oatmeal or whatever to get that liquid up. And I'm using quick oats this time. Quick oats are no different from old-fashioned oats, except for in addition to being rolled, they're also chopped. And that makes them able to absorb water faster. That's why they're quick. Not significantly quicker. I mean, it's just like maybe from 5 minutes down to a minute or 2. But, you know, for people who are short on time, who wake up late because they like to ignore their alarm, yeah, it's a big difference. So anyways, I'll add more water here in a minute, but if you can't afford psyllium fiber because it's not exactly cheap, however, it goes a long way. And it's a lot cheaper than going to the doctor. If you can't afford it, the alternative is to look for sources of food that have lots of fiber in them. And I know that there are people out there that are making really strange claims about how bad oatmeal is for you. But it's wrong, because oatmeal has a low glycemic index, and I believe it has a low glycemic load as well, which means that the sugar in the oatmeal, in the carbs of the oatmeal, gets released over time. And if you find one that has more fiber rather than less, then you know you're getting something that's going to really kind of keep it under control, just like the psyllium fiber does. The difference being, you know, psyllium fiber has almost no flavor, and people don't necessarily like the flavor of oatmeal. You can put spices in oatmeal. I usually put spices like cinnamon and clove and ginger and nutmeg, cardamom. Put all those in there, and you know, cinnamon would be the #1 ingredient or the largest amount. And but I know for a fact that oatmeal will actually somewhat counteract the sugar in your bowl of oatmeal. However, it is not as effective as using the psyllium fiber. Psyllium fiber does a much better job because your body has to actually get the fiber in the oatmeal in order to use it, so to speak, against all that sugar. Whereas if you get the psyllium fiber, it's already available. It's already there, and so your body doesn't have to put a lot of effort into using it. And I've also noticed if you are eating high fiber cereal, but it's got sugar in it, that high fiber will do a better job in helping you versus a cereal that doesn't have a lot of fiber. Like all those sugary cereals that are for children are absolutely horrible for your children's health. You're hurting your children's health. You can potentially creating them a lifetime blood sugar problem. Okay, stop feeding them that stuff. Get low or no sugar cereals and let them deal with it. Same with, the prepared oatmeals where there's lots of sugar in them. Yes, you can buy cereals that have lots of fiber in them, like gosh, what is that brand? Oh man, I can't remember, but you have to look carefully, because number one, how they measure the serving size of something versus how much of the dietary fiber is in it varies from one product to another. So when you look at pasta, it could be a quarter cup, it could be a half cup, it could be a full cup. And so if you see 3 different pastas, and one pasta says a quarter cup has 2 grams of fiber, and you think, oh, okay, that's not bad. And white rice either has 1 or none, and usually a half cup. And then you see a different rice that says it has 2 grams per half cup. And then you see a third one that says 2 grams per cup. Well, the one that's the best is the one that's 2 grams per quarter cup, because a quarter is times 4 for 1 cup, right? That means it's 2, 4, 6, 8. It's 8 grams in 1 cup of that pasta. Pastas that will have that much are usually going to be whole wheat pastas. Rices that usually will have that will be black rices and brown rices. And there are certain other pastas that you can get that are high in dietary fiber as well. And these things will also help. They'll make a big difference. But the best way, the absolute best way that I'm aware of, based on my own experiences with cereals and pastas and oatmeals and things like that, is the psyllium fiber. It hands down produces better results because it's already biologically available to your body. So if you are having those problems, diabetes, prediabetes, just getting blood sugar spikes that then lead you to becoming very tired and lethargic and you fall asleep at whatever you're doing, start using psyllium fiber. A benefit of psyllium fiber also that you may not be aware of is if you're having trouble with constipation, which is generally because you're eating it wrong and or you're not drinking enough water, this will help make it easier for you to go poo. So thanks for watching and hope you have a great day.